Welcome back to Got No Control Podcast. I am your host, RONEK, and I'm excited to announce that we're on our official first tour ever on the road. Our first step is here in Vegas, Nevada, and I have the pleasure of sitting next to Tiki J.
One.
How you feeling today, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. We got my little French. We got the Frenchie, my Frenchie, and on set today. He wanted to be part of the episode, so
He's such a cool little dog. He's such a cool dog. What's up, boy? He's got a gold chain.
I wanted to start by just giving you a thank you for the opportunity, brother. I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy for this conversation, and let's jump into it, brother.
Yeah. Let's chop it up.
Where is Tiki J originally from?
Tiki J's an army brat, so I was born in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was born in the U.S. base there, so it made me an American citizen. My mom was in the Navy, but we drew. We lived everywhere. We lived in San Francisco, Chicago, San Diego. We ended up in L.A. and Redondo in the South Bay, and that's when I started really writing graffiti.
Okay.
Yep. I started to write back then in the South Bay. There was people like Big Five and Brock, Kenner, Taser. We all grew up in the same neighborhood.
Getting into graffiti, brother, how did you stumble across that? How was the very first introduction of graffiti for you?
When I was in junior high school in the Valley, they used to bus in kids from L.A.,
Okay.
and I used to see them writing in class. They would write letters, and that's when breakdancing was starting also in California. And I started breakdancing, and I saw the graffiti, and I got really a lot more interested in that than I did in the dancing.
What year was this, would you say?
Oh, my goodness. 84.
1984. Okay.
84, 85, but I didn't really start writing until about 88 or 89. Because of my introduction from a guy named Robert Tatum, who had a graffiti skateboard company back then. And he taught me all the rules. He taught me about what's respectable, what's not. He taught me about the crews. Back then, there was West Coast Artists, KSN. A few other guys were out rocking. Those guys from Carson, I forget their name right now.
Dream and Green,
the SMD crew. Yeah. Back then they were rocking, dude. Yeah. So
Carson's like my second home, so I know a lot about him.
I love Carson, man.
It's a beautiful city.
It's like little Hawaii or little Samoa. It's like another island. You just skip over California and go right to Carson.
Definitely, you're not lying.
They say that about Vegas too, though.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. They say that there's a big Hawaiian population here as well, Polynesian, and
I know in Carson is very, very, the influence is very heavy down there when it comes to that. Like I eat Filipino food all the time. You know what I mean? So
California's got the best food ever, especially LA.
Very diverse.
Well, it's because they're owned by people that aren't a big company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly mom and pop shops, so they really handle their business well. Anyway,
let me take a small rewind, brother. You mentioned that you were breakdancing first.
Mm-hmm.
How did the hip hop culture enter your lifestyle? Was it through TV or?
Well, yes. Well,
Okay.
Sort of. I guess you could say that I started to see people breakdancing in the neighborhood, and I noticed them by the way that they dressed, and then I would see them doing breakdancing stuff. And then, of course, back then the movies Break-In and Beat Street both came out similar around the same time, and they were also a major influence. Anything that had to do, like who was the big breakers then? The New York City breakers were killing it back then, and you could see them on TV, regular TV, which was a big deal. And so I was heavily influenced by the New York City breakers, the movies that were going on, and of course the scene that was starting in California.
Was it fair to say there was already something in California like pop locking and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Down in Venice, they were already laying it down.
Oh, yeah?
They were holding it down in Venice, I think, and Hollywood as well. Of course, I was a little kid then, but that's where I would be mostly influenced and where I would see things, especially if I was out with my parents or things that I heard about. Oh, these guys in Venice, or they filmed Breakin' in Venice.
Definitely,
much,
they did. Yeah.
So it was that was probably like an iconic place to be known for graffiti or breakdancing and actually skateboarding and everything that's cool.
What about graffiti gravitated you to enter this world of artistic street style, right? What about it got you like, what, I want to be part of this. I want to devote my time and effort to this.
I think it was the mystery of graffiti that got me first. Like, how did that guy get there, or how did that artwork get there?
Yeah.
And then from there, I mean, I was already influenced by art as a young child. And after being reintroduced to graffiti art in the late 80s, I just knew that was something I wanted to do. The thing about the writer, the graffiti artist, or even the urban artist is that, like, the thing that separates them from the studio artist is the fact that they need to go out into the public, and they got to know in their head they're going to break the law.
Yeah.
They're going to risk life, limb, and freedom, whereas the guy in the studio just stays there. It's like it's a title to have, being a graffiti writer, and if you're not active, you're retired, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just catching Main Street tags, anything illegal, I actually don't really feel like myself unless I'm putting in some kind of work.
Okay.
Right? Like, but, there's slow times. We all got to make a living. Not all of us can make a living doing art, but some of us are grateful and fortunate too. But the fact of the matter is that it all boils down to the love that I had for writing my name in public spaces. And that's kind of what it boils down to.
Definitely. I totally agree. Hopping into the culture, is there any specific writer or artist that influenced you as far as style?
Oh, yes. In the very, very beginning, when I got my hands on a Subway art book, of course, Scene and Quick were amazing artists to witness and to be influenced by. And then when I was growing up in LA, there was people like Risk, who was just killing. And then, of course, there was Chaka and the SMD crew, Dream and Green.
Yeah.
Anyone that was painting at the Motor Yard or at Belmont at the time was really a heavy, big influence to me. Let's see, who was Foe, Finn. Oh, dang it. I don't know, but even in Venice, like anytime I saw graffiti in LA at that time, it was just so impressive to me. Like, the game's sort of changed now. It's almost like you can do graffiti in LA and the cops will wave at you. Like,
yeah.
Hi. Is that all you're doing? Okay, it's cool.
Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. You're not breaking into anything? All right, you're good.
Yeah.
But like back then, it was just the biggest mystery to me. And I was fascinated by the whole art form. The wild style letters, it's still like the concepts of writing graffiti and learning the differences between a tag, a throw up, a piece, and a masterpiece. Those are the things that made all of my excitement come to life when seeing graffiti artwork.
In your personal perspective, what do you feel distinguishes the LA graffiti style from the rest of the world?
One thing that I had noticed from LA is that they had certain letter styles that I had only really, really seen in LA. And I guess I could say that when you go different places, there's some different letter styles, but that's one of the biggest things. But there's also a lot of heavy hitters coming out of LA that are influencing people also. And that could also be a standing factor, is that there's so many killers that are running LA, and they don't even just paint there, they paint around the world. But I think it's their influence on the writers from LA. I know that when I was growing up, I would see people like Mir, and I would look at his artwork and go, wow, how do you do that? But like, I didn't, but the thing that I learned actually growing up as a military kid, going from place to place, because I used to hear, like, we're going to go to this place, and I'd be like, oh, I bet you those people are weak.
Yeah.
But then I'd get there and be so wrong. So, to be quite honest, every place has got something so amazing that it's really untouchable. But to put your finger on it in LA scene, like, I mean, we all do letters, we all write, we all get up. I guess one of the outstanding factors are those people that are rappelling down buildings now. I hate those guys. They're so good.
The ones that are hanging from the buildings?
I hate them. They're so awesome. They're so cool.
Like ninjas.
Dude,
Innovation at its finest.
Like that right there is an outstanding feature right now. One of the things that the LA writers were doing lately is they're, of course, the graffiti towers and then the abandoned mansions and things like that. Like I haven't seen abandoned mansions painted before until recently, but I have seen buildings like the one in Miami, which I think was an influence to the graffiti guys in LA. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on something that makes them very distinct. The only thing that I can imagine is that we're just all brothers. We all love the same thing, and the sisters too.
Definitely. And that's the beauty of it, right? You don't get judged on your appearance, what you look like, how you speak. And you get judged on your style, your skill, and what you could do with the can.
Or even if you're not good, just your love for being a brother. Like there's not everyone's that, can be amazing, right? But like you could have a love for this, and that makes you a brother of mine. You feel me?
100%, brother. I totally agree. How important is it for you to develop a hand style, right? Because I feel like a hand style, it's important because it's your signature. It's how you present yourself. How important is a hand style for you?
Hand styles are everything. That's the defining feature of an artist. It's their literal signature. It's what makes them different from someone else. Like it's the only way that I can identify other artists is by how they write or how they piece or how they paint.
Yeah.
And so the hand style plays the first role in that. That's your identification. That's your introduction. That's your business card to other writers. Like when we see that, it's like when dogs smell piss, they know how old you are, where you've been, like what you've been eating. Like that's what it's like when I see someone's tag. Like I can tell if they're young, they've been in the game for a while, if this has been in development, especially if I've been following the artists through the city, like watching them through the years when their tags were toy and then they got so king after a while.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so the tag, the hand style, everything about using your hands with graffiti is the most important part to me.
You brought up a term now that I feel it stands out like, right? King. In your opinion, do you feel like the people got to call you king or you could call yourself king?
That's a tough one, man, because like to me, if you're a star, you'll shine.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell people about it. You don't need to tell people about how dope you are if you're a king. If you're a king, people will already know. And besides, people don't like being force-fed that, right? Like they don't like to be told like that you're not as good as they are.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Like that can put you in a place, especially today with sensitive feelings all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, it's almost like today, if you claim being a king, people are already mad at you for being so bold. It's like, what? This is what, like, it blows my mind because, growing up, it was all about you and making you look dope. And now that's sort of transitioned into let's make everybody look dope.
Yeah.
Let's do this as a group now, or let's, don't try to stand out because we'll probably not like you for doing that. Like I have people in my heart that I call kings.
Okay. And will forever be kings.
Always be kings. But like, will I share that with people? Maybe. It usually ends up becoming a heated debate after that. So I usually just kind of keep that to myself, unless it's someone that I know won't take it that far. But like, of course, people earn their kingship through the time that they put in the game.
Yeah.
What they might have done. There's different kinds of kings. Like in New York back in the day, you couldn't even take the title king unless you were up on all subways, all lines, all buildings, all billboards. You needed to literally be all city in every media to be called a king. And now some people are just saying they're kings because, they wreck walls, or they wreck just freights, or they wreck just this. So it's a slippery subject when you're trying to bring up king, because you can be king in a category.
Yeah.
But the original meaning of the word king was all city, everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. You got to be flexible with the times. For me, it's really just boils back down to, do you love to write? Do you love to go paint? Do you wake up early? Do you wake up late? Like, do you put in work? Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the stuff that's important to me.
I feel like that's a great description and a good perspective to point towards that specific situation and conversation.
Yes, I believe it's not that it's a really not a broad subject. It's really finite in a lot of ways, like because to really be able to say that, like to me, if you ask me who I thought the king of them all was, it's just like now I start going, well, you mean in piecing, in scribes, like tags, freight cars, like what
Yeah.
do you mean, right? Like so, but it's up to people if they want to call themselves that and people allow it, then then I guess it's cool.
Go for it, huh?
Go for it, man. But like you might not be a king to me,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But like in my heart, I know who my kings are, man, and they'll always be heavy. They'll always stand strong, and
100%.
yeah, man.
And your early beginnings coming up as a teen writer, did you ever have any interaction with New York writers?
You know what? We met the OG Delta from the Subway Can artwork.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were painting in the alleys in Melrose. Back
Okay.
then, I was from TCS.
TCS.
Yes, that was the sort of the crew you got in before you got into CBS.
Okay.
And back then, we were painting the alleys, and Delta rolled up on us and was like, "Yo, man," and showed us his black book. Back then, we carried our black books around,
Okay.
and we would hand them to each other. People would catch tags, and Delta like gave us his number, and we made a big deal about it, almost making fun of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yo, you don't give those digits to anyone.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
what he said to us. Like, he's like, don't give those digits out. Like, all right, bro, calm down.
Yeah, we're not gonna give it to nobody.
It's in my black book. This was like pre-internet too,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like, dude, chill out, man. But he was really cool, and yeah, that was like I think it was like my second year into writing graffiti back then. It was a good time. Touche was there that day. Brock 77 was there that day. I think Taser was there, and if Taser was there, probably Kenner was there too.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a good time.
Oh man, you don't even know. You never know what we do when we would all get into my car and go someplace. We had no idea what was going to happen that night.
Yeah.
Like you had to be ready to be arrested that night. Like you had to be like, okay, like we might not come home tonight. Like something might go down. But it was always cool.
Was it always like a barrier being a military kid and being able to stay in LA, or is it like you turn 18 and then you went about your business?
No, I was probably the worst military kid ever.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I know I gave my mom gray hairs growing up, but she never really she never really gave me any shit about becoming a military person, even
Yeah.
though now I look back and kind of wish, like I look back and I go, might not have been a pretty bad life to be in the military. I look back now, there's so much I could have done, but none of it would have been artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, like I might have been the guy that paints the stars on the plane or whatever, but that's the extent of that. Right?
Okay.
Like I would never have been able to be an artist whatsoever.
If you would have became a full-on military,
You have to do one.
you have to devote yourself to it.
And being an artist full time, man, like it's either feast or famine, or feast, famine. Or, you never know. Like especially the last few years as soon as the pandemic started, I was having the best year of my life.
Okay.
When the pandemic started, I was getting jobs with casinos here on the Strip, and then as soon as the pandemic started, all my work just dried up.
Oh wow.
For a year, it dried up, and fortunately, I did some work for Chipotle. We did some mural work, and helped keep me afloat. And then other work started coming in, and
Oh, so this is what you do full time?
oh yes,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I mean, I teach also.
Art?
Yes,
Okay.
just in case, right? Like, but I also do it to give back.
Okay.
Like I teach at the college here. I'm right in the middle of getting my teacher's license, so I might actually be an official teacher soon.
The college over here is what's the name of the college down here?
There's a few. There's UNLV, and then there's Nevada State College.
Okay.
I was actually teaching at the Art Institute here for about 10 years until I started teaching at the Nevada State
Okay.
University, is what it's called now.
What initiated that for you? Was it the passion of giving back?
That and I had just moved here, so I had no network or anything, and they were
Okay.
offering a teacher position at the
Oh,
Art
wow.
Institute. So since I had a degree in art, I was able to get a job there.
Oh, so you studied art as well?
Oh yes,
Okay.
yeah. No, in fact, I went to Otis College of Art and Design for my bachelor's degree.
Oh, wow. You went to Otis?
I went to Otis.
Oh, wow.
I love Otis. In fact, I'm going to be applying there. One of my teachers said I should apply to teach drawing.
Otis is an amazing institution.
I absolutely adore Otis. If anyone goes to college, it was the best 4 years of my life.
Okay.
Like Otis is so amazing. It was amazing then. It's even more amazing now because they've restructured the whole buildings. But
Yeah.
Otis is a 24-hour campus, and you have a studio on the campus.
So you have full access to it.
You have full access to your studio.
Oh, wow.
The whole campus all night, wood shop. They have like top of the line everything. Like I learned how to laser cut, CNC mill, like all that.
Nice.
Rapid prototyping. I learned all of that stuff there. And it wasn't just that. Like people think that you go to college to learn art, and that's just part of it. But the biggest part of it is your network, is who you meet. Like those are not only that, it's the people you're going to college with, because if they need someone at their job to come work for them, they're going to hire you before they hire a stranger, you know, just because you know that person, because they're part of your network.
Do you feel like experience will help out in a way too?
Experience plays a large role, especially like if you're trying to be a professional artist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, like it took me at least 3 or 5 years to figure out how to do pricing and not get ripped off.
Okay.
And how to say, yo, you need to pay up.
I think that's one of the hardest aspects of being an independent artist, right? Knowing how to value yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Because I've made mistakes where like I feel like, oh, this might be a couple bucks, and then it ends up being a lot more, and I signed up for it and I'm stuck.
Nope. Nope. That's what I mean. It's like it took me like 3 to 5 years to get to the point where I won't even talk to someone. Like I'll talk to them, but I will not deliver one piece of artwork until they've given me X amount of dollars.
Okay.
And then I won't even start the project until they give me half up front. Like right in the beginning, like, because if not, there's people out there that will take advantage, and then you'll just never get paid.
No, you're right, 100%. You'll be left out trying to figure out what you did wrong, how to fix it, and then sometimes it's too late.
And you're like, all I'm trying to do is be an artist. Nah, bro.
You'll end up being
In fact, being an artist is probably only like 10% of the whole business of being an artist.
You're not lying.
You have to learn how to write emails. You have to learn to talk to people, like
business proposals.
Oh man, but you know,
mock-ups.
That's what college also helps. Like they teach you how to present and how to speak in a way that, like, you know, the professionals speak a language. It's a language. It's a language just like Spanish or French or German. And if you don't speak that language, they know. And that's how they know to take advantage of you, because they know you don't know the language.
I see what you're saying.
Right. But if you speak their language, then they'll always, like, when I worked for Amazon, like, I did a job for them, and they were trying to get me to do all kinds of work. And I was just like, no, I won't do a thing unless you give me my money right now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, man. Yeah, they made it difficult after that, but I won't get into it.
How did that thought come about that, right? Because you're a young teen, you know, you're out here doing Graff and, you know, hanging out with your buds. But how does the thought of like, you know what, I want more for myself. I want to go to college. I want to study this. I want to learn more mediums, right? I want to dive into the history of art. How did that thought begin for you?
I didn't have those thoughts then. I don't think I thought that far out at the time. I knew that when I started writing graffiti, I knew that people were making money doing graffiti murals.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would love to do that for a living. But I was also young. You know, I didn't realize how grueling it is to stand in front of a wall for 8 hours, climbing up and down a ladder, and being in the sun, and like, you know, like if anyone out there thinks that mural working is easy, it's one of the toughest works I've ever done in my life. It's very rewarding in the end, but it's brutal to get through. So if you want to be a mural artist, just know that it's not an easy task, especially if you keep getting older, like me. But I actually was trying to find work younger as an artist, and I found work at Tower Records, being an artist at a tower. And it wasn't until I met my little girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
She told me that if I didn't go to college, I wasn't going to be with her. And so I started going to Otis. So I started to go to school. And and it was one of the best decisions. I had no idea. I had no idea what college opens doors, folks. And if you're worried about that price ticket at the end, I mean, like I said, if you're a star, you'll shine. You won't have to worry about it.
You gotta waste money. You gotta invest money to make money.
That's right. Are you worth the investment? Is really what you should be asking yourself, is what I think. But I'll stop sounding like a teacher.
Taking a small step back, brother. Is Tiki J your first name that you came up with?
Okay, no, actually, so the homeboy Touche from WAI.
Oh, shout out Touche.
Yeah, what up, homie? I actually gave him his name. There's a little story behind it. It's a little funny, but I gave Touche his name. And then when I started making my tiki heads, I was really influenced by a homeboy, Chico, who actually was at Otis when I wasn't there yet. I was influenced by him because instead of doing a name with letters, he was just trying to do a branded image.
Yeah.
So I was really influenced by that, and I started drawing my tiki heads, and I wanted the public to name me. I wanted to put enough out there that like the public would go, "Oh, that's such and such." Or
yeah.
But before that could happen, I was recruited into WAI, and Touche was like, "You should write Tiki J," because my graffiti name was TJ.
Oh, TJ.
TJAY.
Okay.
At that time. And so he's like, "You should just write Tiki J now." And there was a nice ring to it, nice flow. And so I decided to take that, and thank you, Touche. And the rest is history now. I still try to rely mostly on painting the tiki heads, as my signature statement. But
which would be these guys.
Yes. But like I paint graffiti. Like I started painting graffiti. I love writing graffiti letters. I love painting freehand characters, but I also love making stencils and stickers by hand. I've coined the term urban landscape specialist, meaning that I'm fluent in all major media, well, at least the 4 major media: adhesive stickers, wheat paste posters, stencils, and freehand graffiti. And the new thing which I have brought to the table are my concrete tiki heads.
Okay.
Which look out for the new year. We got something in the works. It's a secret now.
It's like the concrete ones that you mentioned now. Are they like figures, like concrete figures made out of concrete?
Yes, they're like those tiki heads right there.
They look like this?
Made out of concrete, yes.
Okay. And they're available for the public if they would like to purchase?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, we got a new mold for the next year. But there's going to be a new public project, an underground, guerrilla project.
I got to give me one.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Put one in my desk when I get back home.
We have new lower prices, so if anyone else is interested. Well, because like they were really difficult to make before, so I had to price them pretty high. But they're all still original pieces. And the thing people don't understand is it takes like 36 hours to 48 hours for me to make one. And I can't do anything else with it while that's making. So time is money for me. But these new ones should be a lot faster and cleaner, and looking forward to getting them out there to you folks.
Yeah, make sure to check them out and grab one. I know I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
You're going to see it on my desk when I get back home.
Holla.
I know you mentioned entering WAI. Was becoming part of a crew, because I know you also mentioned you were from TC.
Oh, TCS.
TCS. Tough City Squad, WAI. Was being part of a crew always the plan for you?
it was always a natural step for me. I
Okay.
mean, I learned that like I was already in a crew before that, but it wasn't really a big name crew, but it was crew enough to be a starting crew.
Yeah.
You know, it's not until we broke out into the LA region that we started becoming parts of more established crews, people that had been around for years.
Yeah.
And so it was always a natural stepping point for me. But at that point, I just wanted to just paint my tiki heads, and I didn't think that any crews would have me because
Okay.
I didn't think that they would understand what I was doing. But since I grew up with those guys from WAI, they knew I wrote graffiti letters, and they knew I could write graffiti. So they were cool with me being in the crew, I think.
So is WAI a South Bay crew?
Yeah, I would say it's a Southern California crew.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that a South Bay. Yeah, like you know, there's Plek who lives out in Compton.
Okay.
And you know, there's guys that live all over in that area, like Huntington Park, off the 91. I forget that area.
You got Gardena.
Oh yeah, we got some dudes in Gardena. Like there's, as I understand it now, there's WAI guys all over the U.S. and around the world, and we're just blowing up and doing really well. I've actually never seen the crew do so much dope shit. Like they're really knocking it out. I'm on this feed with them, man, and they're always posting all this dope work. Like, yeah, I love you guys.
I see. Do you guys have a guy named Tetris
Oh yeah, the homeboy Tetris
doing
yeah.
amazing things with the city of Bell?
Dude, yeah, no, Tetris is killing it, and he's also doing some life drawing stuff out in LA. I think is doing really cool, and he's a sick artist. Actually, he's a really dope artist. I saw that he received an award from Governor Newsom.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. Yeah, big up Tetris.
Big ups. What do you feel sets WAI aside from the rest?
I don't know because. Like I feel all crews. I feel like we behave like all other crews. So anything that I would say, I feel wouldn't be any different than how another crew would handle it. Like, like we really have that old school standard where like, dude, like we want quality work, and we want the crew to grow. We got our shirts that say "We ain't impressed." So
we ain't impressed.
We ain't impressed. So, you know, I think that should say something about how we are. But I feel like that's how other crews are, you know, like when I was growing up, like UTI was trying to be better than West Coast, and West Coast was trying to be better than KSN, and like everybody was trying to be better than everyone else. But like nowadays, people are getting along. Maybe it's probably better because there was also a lot more fighting back then too.
Oh, okay.
You know, but I don't know if people would even fight these days. Oh God. I'm glad I said that softly.
I really like that hat you have on. It's a WA hat. Is that available to the public as well?
I don't think this is available to the public. I've been blessed with these by Delta and by Reds.
Okay.
They both gave me these hats, you know, and that's the one thing I love about being a WAI crew member. They're always getting blessed up by the homies. Like they make sure that you got WAI gear, WAI stickers, patches, so that I can go ahead and represent my crew proper. Well, it's not my crew, but the crew I'm in. You know?
Definitely, 100%. I feel that. I wanted to hop into, brother, how did the transition of moving to Vegas happen for you?
So like I had graduated from college, and I was actually designing stores at Guess.
Okay.
I was designing them in 3D models so that they could be approved through construction. And Obama got in office, and I got laid off.
Oh, wow.
It happened all in the same November. He got elected, and by December I was getting a severance check from Guess.
Okay.
So I came out here to Vegas because I underestimated it.
Okay.
I thought that like well, I don't want to say I underestimated it. I just think that like it wasn't as big as LA, so I would have more chances at success here.
Oh, okay.
Having a degree in art, and I thought that everything here is visual. Plus, back then living here was just the price of living here was just so amazing. Yeah, we moved into a really like just coming in the door, we found this place for under $1,000 in a really nice neighborhood. And it was just like, back then $1,000 in LA was like a studio, maybe like
a 1-bedroom,
right? Maybe in Gardena. I know that when I lived in Hawthorne, I was like 800, but I'm living in Hawthorne. It was like Hawthorne and 130 something too.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the street after Hawthorne? It's the next one after that.
They have Lomita.
Prairie.
Prairie. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like Prairie and El Segundo or something like that.
Were you still actively like painting when you got to Vegas?
You know what? I want to say that my heart was there, but I was trying to make a living and learn the scene. Like I would go painting here and there, but like it took me a little while to get back into the groove here and meet people.
How was it? Like, was it a warm welcome? Like the Vegas natives here, kind of like, hey, how's it going? Or was it kind of like, oh, this guy's an outsider?
Actually, I'm not going to mention the guy's name that I met first,
yeah.
but I asked him about painting in the arts district, and at first he was a little cold and standoffish.
Okay.
And then he was like, so what do you write? And I told him, and he was like, oh, you mean from LA? You're Tiki from LA? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like cool with me after that.
But at first he's like, who's this guy?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah,
I guess that would happen anywhere, but like I just so happened to run into him and he was sort of running things, but now there's no one really running anything. In fact, it was really funny. One day I brought him with me to go paint. I was like, yo, can you hook up a spot for me? And like, so we get to this place and he's like, all right, so this is what you do. And I'm like, what do you mean this is what I do? That's what I brought you for, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he kind of did that because that's how I learned how to find other spots. And like, in the arts district area. But up until recently, we had this amazing place called the Wheel of Misfortune that Aware started a long time ago, and it was actually an old mine called the Three Kids Mine or the Two Kids Mine, and it was these big circular vats, concrete walls. The vats are gone now, and for years you could just go there and paint freely.
Oh wow!
It's gone now though. Like so, Aware did a piece there called. So one of the reasons why it's called the Wheel of Misfortune is because he took one of the big circular structures, which is like, 100 feet radius.
Yeah.
And he made it like a Wheel of Fortune wheel, except it said shit like bankrupt, $0, and that's why they ended up calling that place the Wheel of Misfortune.
And it was kind of like a legal spot, kind of like the Venice Walls.
It was even more illegal. I mean, it's even more legal because it was abandoned.
Oh, okay.
No one cared about it. Like it wasn't owned by anyone. I mean, the city probably owned it, but they didn't care about it.
Gotcha.
You could literally drive up in there. I mean, I had painted there so many times. They'd filmed the movies there also. Like there's this movie with Melanie Griffith called Cherry 2000. It's an old 90s film, but you could see the Wheel of Misfortune in the background and the walls are all clean. The ground's clean. There's no broken glass. Like, it's like, wow, look at how nice that used to be, but they just recently tore it down because now they're building new houses.
Oh, I see. So now there are.
But the problem is that the whole place is filled with chemicals from the mines. So people are also saying, hey, you're going to build houses on top of this toxic land. Right?
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I wish they would have just left it alone. I know it really upset. It's just like, it's so sad to see things go, but I never thought that this place was ever going to go.
Okay.
And I can only talk about it now and show pictures, and maybe one day someone will make a documentary about it. In fact, I thought it was going to be there so long. I wanted to organize a cleanup.
Also, it was a very impactful spot for Vegas graffiti.
Not just Vegas graffiti. If you came from out of town, that's where we brought you.
Okay.
We brought you to paint there, or maybe even the arts district. But the Wheel of Misfortune's better. would have been a more of a destination.
For me, it's very interesting to witness this today because I lived in Vegas in 2013.
Oh wow!
I was here from 2013 to 2014, and when I was down here, there was nothing here. There was no art district. There was nothing.
Oh,
It was just like get what you could find, paint what you can. There was probably like one smoke shop that carried some stuff, very minimal. So what I did was I would go back home and bring stuff back with me. And I never really met nobody down here that was kind of like full on into the culture. I think they were more focused on like tag banging at the moment.
Oh, that's right.
And at that time. So now that I came back to revisit and I see the art district, I'm just like blown away, like what it has become.
Oh yeah, no, it's almost like its own monster. Like it's like I would compare it to Melrose Alleys in LA. Like if you know, or even if you don't know the owner, like they're just, as long as you're painting a mural, like, or a piece,
they kind of like leave you alone.
Yeah, they're cool with it. In fact, I was with Reds and Logic one day and we went into this alley and we thought that like the building was cool. Come to find out, like the whole piece was illegal. It got buffed the next day.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, but that's how cool it is, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So yeah, we're bummed. Like, so the best thing to go paint now since the Wheel of Misfortune for me is to go to the abandoned spots that are surrounded around here. There's a bunch of old abandoned mills and buildings and structures, and I just can't get enough of painting those spots.
I've seen a bunch of them around, a bunch of abandoned buildings, abandoned banks, hotels, and stuff like that. That's what I see a lot around here.
Yeah, no, I have to go out into the like for me, I'll drive down the 15 and there's a bunch there, but there's also some on the way to Laughlin. And if anyone wants to message me with any other locations,
feel free to send over the message.
I will be waiting.
But for the most part, in 2024, how would you quote the graffiti movement out here in Vegas? You feel like it's alive and thriving?
Oh my gosh, dude. Thriving.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's just dude, we got some heavy hitters out here though. Like, we got Gear out here and the homeboy Black's killing it. You know, my homeboys Logic and Reds are laying it down always. You know, and it's just like, my homeboy Fax is killing it. Like, man, if I missed you guys, I'm sorry, or if I didn't bring you up, but everyone out here just seems to be growing. But the one thing that I'm noticing, it's the older guys that are growing. The young guys are not keeping up.
Okay.
The younger guys, their skill level is not more than a tag, like, or a basic throw up. Like, they're not growing. I'm noticing. Like,
what do you think is preventing that?
It's the same symptom that's preventing everyone from not being able to like focus. I notice if I ask somebody if they like something, they can't tell me what they like because they like everything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And graffiti works the same way. Unless you focus on your graffiti skills, you're not going to grow. And like, I remember just, things that would be regular sights to me when I would go to my homeboys' houses growing up would be like all sorts of loose paper all over the house with tags on every inch of the paper, overlapping the papers, But then there would be throw ups. Like, all my old black books, I have all the work, man. Like, but people today, I don't think are focusing, also because they're not having the guidance.
Okay.
From there's no mentors anymore, right?
Like,
there's no one wants to be an apprentice because they know everything already. But I'll tell you this, all you folks that know things, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, and I'll tell you right now, like, if you know how to clean a mirror or a window, well, wisdom's doing it, so there's a difference between knowing how to do it and performing it, right? And so it's just like, if you know too much but you don't do anything with it, like, what's that worth?
Do you think it's fair to say that it's also that a lot of younger guys are just in it for the wrecking part of it? Or like I just want to.
Oh yeah, you know what? I don't. Yeah, no, you know what? Like, in fact, that was part of my beginning. Was I was just an angry kid. I
Okay.
just wanted to wreck shit. Like
Yeah.
this was a vehicle for me to go and wreck stuff and not really care. But you know what? I grew up having a code. Like I said, Robert Tatum taught me stuff about graffiti. Right? Like he taught me you don't write on people's houses or people's cars. You know, the public bridge pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, public tunnel. All right, let's go on.
Or you're
Right?
not gonna go to like a church and.
I'm not. Well, you know, but like some people do, and
Yeah.
and I can't judge you guys. That's you. That's you. That's your expression. That's your way of writing. You know, but for me, like, I won't feel good wrecking someone's shit like that.
I hear
You
what
know.
you're saying. I could totally relate to that because there's certain things I wouldn't do, right?
I mean, but like I walk the line on it because I'll paint a box car. You know what I mean? Right? Like those trucks, the box trucks that roll around. Like if they're graphed up, dude, I'm getting a spot on that, man. But
Yeah.
I won't be the first one, that's for sure.
No, I hear you 100%. Getting back into like your early beginnings of the graph culture in LA, right?
Yes.
How important was it for you to take parts in like painting yards out there?
Oh my God, dude. Are you kidding? Like, to me, getting a spot or painting someplace meant, well, because, being a writer is all about getting your fame.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had what I call a wall lust. Like, I just wanted to paint every wall, every spot, but like I was still learning. Like, there's a transition when you're learning to write graffiti. Like, you need to know what yard you can paint or what yard's gonna like stay rolling. Like, you learn that like you can't just catch up throw ups on the corners because they're gonna be buff the next day. So you did all that work and risk for nothing, right? Like, shit. What was my point? What was
The importance of painting yards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how you get your credibility. People consider you a real writer as soon as they see you up in a yard. Like, if you're not up in a yard, like, and you tell people you're a writer, they might not believe you.
What are some of the yards that you visited as a young teen?
I loved the motor yard. The motor yard was my go-to all the time.
Okay.
There was the Panic Zone down in L.A. There was also, 7th Street. Belmont was a tunnel. Belmont was a great yard to always paint. I was actually there on this last day at Belmont. Like 3 generations of writers were there. The old guys, the current guys, and the new young.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we found out that they were going to level all of Belmont. I don't know if you know what Belmont is. It was an old train tunnel yard. It was a big, huge yard. It was in a whole bunch of movies like Colors and like Falling Down and a bunch of films. But they those yards, they're long gone. In fact, those yards started to get so hot that we would have to go down to Orange County and paint off of Golden West down at the beach because they had a legal wall there that you could go paint.
Was it the Huntington Beach walls?
Yeah, the Huntington Beach walls. And then, of course, back then also you could go paint Venice because the smokestacks weren't buried back then. I don't know if you know this about Venice where the smokestacks are, but that's all the sand's covering a bunch of picnic benches and a whole bunch of like an area where you could go and picnic and hang out.
Yeah, what were they called? They had a name.
Pavilion.
The pavilion. There we go.
Pavilion.
Yeah,
Yeah. I actually have a piece from the pavilion back then, and they had a B-Boy Summit there one year also.
They had a B-Boy Summit at the pavilion?
They had a B-Boy Summit at the pavilion, man. In fact, I was just showing Brock because him and Taser had throw-ups behind the stage.
Oh, wow. I can't believe the B-Boy Summit came to an end. It was so bumming to hear that out. Like, man, it was bumming to hear that. Like, man, I can't believe it's gone. I went to the last one. I was there.
Where was it?
It was in L.A.
Yeah, even the graffiti conventions, like here, I feel like they used to be like when they would have the Viva Las Vandals here in Vegas.
Oh, they had it, Viva Las Vandals.
Yeah, like a few years.
Okay.
And it was tight because everything was so close to each other. Like,
yeah.
Like this, like the meeting of styles in LA, the last one I think was like all over the city, like different places. Like
Yeah,
some people were painting here and some people were painting there.
I
And
took part of it the last one. I was there,
was it
and
scattered like
it
that?
was all over the place. You had the central hub, and then
Like, how are you supposed to visit all that? Like, you're sitting
Yeah.
there, like, even if you like, I don't know.
it's not like having everything in one place. So
Dude, it's so hard to have. But when you had places like Belmont and you had those yards, then you could have them at one place.
Yeah.
Now it's just so hard to do that. Everything, all this renovation and new construction and the building. I mean, I've never seen Las Vegas so busy. I've never seen like the freeways are starting to become like the LA freeways here.
That's what I was noticing on the way over here. I was like, wow.
It's just like, dude. And that's one of the things that I loved about living out here was that I didn't have to be in that bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
Like someone's always cutting you off. Like,
And now it's becoming that.
don't get me started. Don't you get me started. Every time I'm like, yo, it's a California plate again.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, that's another Charger. It's either a Charger or a Kia. I'm just kidding.
But I feel like those yards were important, bro. It kept the energy alive of wanting to be the best you could possibly be, right? Because you would go to these yards and see full color productions, right? Like background,
It was
and
also
all that good
illegal.
stuff.
It was also illegal. Like today, like I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, like I don't think you can hold the title graffiti writer unless you're doing illegal work.
Okay.
The whole idea of doing graffiti is the fact that you don't have all day. Like you have to get this done. Like adrenaline is pumping through your body. And not only that, you're showing skills through this adrenalized state. There's no way you can be relaxed on top of a billboard rocking, dude. Like, but you're showing skills, savvy under fire, like you're showing how cool you can be no matter how much pressure you're under. Right? Like that's part of being a graffiti writer. If you can't handle that, then you're not a writer. Like writers write. They write graffiti and it's supposed to be illegal. It's not supposed to be legal or else everyone would call themselves a writer.
100%. 100%.
Respect.
I know you mentioned that the yards were getting hot, right? By hot, do you mean through cops?
Yes.
Like law enforcement?
Yes. Like people live it, like especially the motor yard people that were living in the surrounding areas that could see us in there.
Yeah.
They would call cops. So it's like, usually you would go in there going, okay, maybe I got 2 or 3 hours to do this and I can get out.
Okay.
But like if people are calling the cops on you, you're halfway through your piece.
And you got to go.
There you bye.
And then you might come back, it's not there no more.
Even back then, like you had to, you couldn't pull your paint out of your bag. You had to keep that shit in the bag so that you had to pick it up and go.
Oh.
Like you couldn't just lay it out like, oh, I got all day for this, dude.
I'll be here all day. Yeah.
And you also did that because fools were trying to jack you for your paint too. Like you might be painting by yourself, like, and then 3 dudes were rolling out the tunnel, like.
So like riders were robbing riders? Oh wow!
Riders would rob riders, dude,
for paint.
Like especially if you weren't from that neighborhood or like they knew you weren't from there, like. Forget it, dude. Your paint's jacked, dude. Like,
damn.
Oh, dude. I would hear about people getting paint jacked in Venice. I'd hear about their skateboards getting jacked. I'd hear about they would just like people would roll up to them and just go right through their backpacks. What you got in here?
Oh wow! You just started taking stuff.
Used to be raw. Like there's a reason Venice used to be called Dogtown, man. Like
oh wow.
Yeah, it was ghetto by the sea for real, man. It was. Like the Venice Shoreline Crips ran the pavilion down there. When
I like that. I never heard of that. Ghetto by the sea.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir, dude. Like, I mean, the first time I went to Venice as a little kid, I think I was like 12 or 13, and I was already scared just because of all the stories. Like, don't wear red. No, don't wear anything with B on it.
Yeah, don't do this, don't do that, because they're going to come get you.
Ugh. But then you also, as soon as you go there, you learn how to be cool.
Yeah.
And they either...
You start adapting to like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do that. I got to stay away from this guy.
Right.
This guy's cool.
Just don't look him in the eye. All right. So, because you learn like, okay, I'm just skating, so they're not messing with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I loved, man. I like to think that I grew up in California in a golden time because it's definitely not the same LA. It's like stop, no, and don't now. They're
I can
like,
only imagine how different it was back then to what it is today.
so like that day I told you about the first time I went to Venice, I
Yeah.
went with two of my friends and we were cruising around the canal area. Some guy just let us use his boat to go cruise around the canals.
Oh wow.
That's how cool it was.
Oh
He
wow.
just trusted us to bring it back and put it back. And
That will not happen today.
you you're like, don't even look at my boat, dude.
You
What are you
start-
doing back here?
You start
You
calling
don't
the
live
cops.
here. Yeah. You don't live here. Oh no.
You know, graffiti battles were something that took part a lot back in the day. Were you part of any battles?
No, but I was around for the Hex and Slick battle
Ooh.
at the Levitt's yard.
How was that?
Holy cowsers, man. I had never seen such like amazing, brilliant, talented artists just throwing down. You
Yeah.
know? Like I think Hex ended up taking it from Slick, but I heard that Hex had painted all through the night. Like Slick went home,
Yeah.
whatever, I think.
Yeah.
And then Hex painted throughout the whole night and just slayed the wall, just killed it, like murdered. There was cops there, like yellow tape. It's just like
Shout out Hex, man. He just painted a massive mural on my compound for my 3-year anniversary. Much love to my brother Hex.
big up to Hex and Slick.
Shout out Slick too.
Yes, sir.
And his Graff shop, I think it's called Big Dicks.
Oh, and by the way, Slick, I have some Shaolin stickers from your old company still.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was working at World Industries when
Yeah.
I was younger, the skateboard company, and Jeff Hartzell and Slick started a company with World Industries called Shaolin.
Shaolin.
So it was like Blind, Shaolin, World Industries. They were all under the same
Yeah.
banner, and I got some old school stickers from them still. Like, I collect that stuff, but like, you know,
Gotcha.
it was a dope company.
You know, brother, I wanted to ask, you know, you coming from a Filipino background, being raised in the Philippines, did you ever get an opportunity to meet another Filipino artist? And did it ever get a little misunderstood being around other guys that didn't understand the culture?
You know what? I've gotten that since day one, since I'm half white and half Filipino.
Yeah.
You know, I never really belonged. I always kind of got attitudes from Filipinos anyway, as soon as
Okay.
they found out I was half white. But like, I don't know too many Filipino writers. I don't know too many. I know that when I was breakdancing, that was acceptable
Yeah.
at the time. But I think that's because it's not illegal to breakdance.
Okay.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's illegal to write graffiti, and almost all the Filipinos I know are Catholic bound. Like they're all
And
Catholics.
the language you speak is Tagalog.
Tagalog. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Tagalog and there's Visayan. My dad spoke both dialects, but
Okay.
I got to the U.S. when I was about 3, so I didn't really learn Tagalog.
Okay.
Even though I still, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get into that another time.
You know, visiting Carson, I've learned some stuff in Tagalog. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I grew up with a lot of Filipinos, so
Probably
yeah.
got a lot of good food, too.
yeah, man, we got some good stuff in Carson.
I wanted to make a shirt that said "Eat first." Right?
Yeah.
Oh, eat first. Eat first. I thought that would be cool, like some like wavy letters.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. Yeah. You know, you're coming from a time, brother, where there's no internet. You come from an era where there's no internet.
Yeah.
So now in 2024, it seems like you have to have a social media presence in order to achieve what you're trying to achieve. What is your take on that?
Hey, don't even get me started, man. You can't just be an artist anymore. You have to be a content creator now. Like,
Yeah.
You can't just show your work. You got to like show it and then like make some video edit of how it looks. It's just like, I think that that's cool, but I also see how you can mask some of your work by doing that also.
Okay.
To me, I'd like to just show my work. Maybe I'll play a song, you know, but I believe I don't I don't really believe in what's trendy. I like to be flexible for things that are trendy, but I like my style to be classic, meaning that would look good in any year,
Okay,
any
gotcha.
time frame. Like 100 years from now, this whatever I presented will still work.
It's kind of like
You
me.
know?
It's kind of like recording that timeless record, right? Like you hear a Dr. Dre Snoop Dogg record, timeless.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Something.
Well,
So,
it's even more like even if you hear the old timey music, you could hear the static and things in the
yeah,
background, and it's almost like you're transporting
yeah,
right
yeah.
back into time. You
And
know?
it's still a hit. People can still resonate with it.
Yes.
So
Yeah, dude, because like some of that 90s Dre and Snoop stuff is still cool. Like it's
yeah,
still really good. Like I think that Dre shouldn't be on the microphone, but he is a hell of a producer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He makes some sick beats, uh but that's what I'm talking about. Like no matter what year, some of that music's still always gonna be cool. Like it will always sound good. Like they can put it in a movie soundtrack and you won't even know what year it came out.
Yeah,
Right? Like
it's just timeless.
that's like that 70s music too. Like it's just some you people know and hear and see quality.
What is your take on graffiti artists like somebody like Cause?
Cause. Oh, right. Actually, Cause I was in a Juxtaposed magazine with him.
Okay, okay. Is this recent?
No, this
Okay.
was actually when a long time ago, and the article was on the last day of Belmont.
Oh
Actually,
wow!
Cause has the cover
I
though.
need to find that one.
I'll try. I think I have it. I'll try to find. I'll try to send that to you. But like, so, cause at this point, like again, like I'm gonna stick to my standard. Like, even if you started out as a graffiti writer,
Yeah.
or even an urban artist, we'll say, like if you're not breaking the law, you're not that anymore. Like
Okay.
you're an artist now. Like you're a studio artist. Like you're someone that is doing business. You're not battling. You're not fighting the buff. You're not risking your limb to get up here on this tall thing. Like, and it's cool. Like if you had your time, you had your time. But I'm not going to call you a writer anymore. Like I'll call you an artist now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it's pretty like, and it's cool. Like whatever your path is your path, right? Like
Definitely.
if you use a spray paint can though, that doesn't necessarily make you a graffiti writer, right? The spray paint can is just a medium. It's like if you were writing your name illegally, trying to get fame, I think that kind of makes you a graffiti writer at
Okay.
that point. Yeah.
Gotcha. What is your personal take on this, brother? Coming from a time where the using a spray can was looked down on, kind of looked negative. So
Yeah.
now you got street artists using the can and kind of glorifying it as their medium of choice. But then you have guys like yourself that had to fight that stereotype of using the can.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the same stigma with tattoos,
Yeah.
right? Like before tattoos were frowned upon, and now,
Everybody has
oh
a,
God, dude, everybody's got to have a tattoo. And in fact, I think that some people use a spray paint can now to represent something that maybe that they're not,
okay.
right? Like they're using it as a symbol, like, yo, this is who I am. And it's like, dude, you just bought that today, dude. Like, you don't have a rack of paint at your house.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But as far as people today writing graffiti, and we'll see what happens. Like I was wondering this myself. Like, what is since like I was mentioning that our young people aren't developing. I don't know. Like it's our older guys that are still developing right now. So it's going to be like some Obi-Wan Kenobi and some young Luke Skywalker stuff.
Luke,
dude.
I am your father.
I give you this fat cap. This is how you flare. What was it? I was watching this. Oh, it was this meme on Instagram where this guy, his dad's like, did you write this graffiti in this notebook? And the kid's like, yo, I was just messing around. And he's like, nah. No kid of mine's going to be a toy. Like,
Oh,
look
yeah,
at your
yeah,
letters right here.
Go back and practice.
Dude, come on, man. I taught you better than this.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Yeah, I think that, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with that.